Test, test.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Wednesday, April the 16th, and we are about to start the April 16th, 2025 meeting of Council of the Township of Muskoka Lakes. I apologize for the late start. I hope that didn't inconvenience anybody. But I think we're ready to go, and we have a full agenda, so we're going to just get started right away. If we could, please. I'm going to call this meeting to order at what looks to be 1:49. I can confirm that we do have quorum here in person or on the screen because we do operate under a hybrid environment. I can confirm that the CAO, the clerk, and other members of the senior management team are present to add to the conversation as required. And I will also acknowledge that we are on lands traditionally occupied by Indigenous peoples. Indigenous peoples have cared for this territory for the benefit of future generations, and their stewardship throughout the ages is recognized. Miigwech, thank you. Okay, today's meeting is being live streamed and is being recorded on the Township of Muskoka Lakes website and its YouTube channel. By participating in the open public meeting today, you are consenting to your image, your voice, and your comments being recorded and posted online. I can confirm that, as we always do, we invited comments on the agenda at our website, TML public comment at muskokalakes.ca, and I can report that we have received no comments. I can also acknowledge that there is a supplementary agenda and basically has one matter on it. It's a supplementary agenda issued to add the following matter. It's Re 11.A.3, bylaw 2025-040, ZBA-41/24, Muskoka Lakes Golf and Country Club, GP Inc., roll number 5-4-082. So that will come up at the end of our regular agenda, published agenda. So I'm going to ask anyone present, please, to let me know whether they have a pecuniary interest that needs to be disclosed. Councillor Mazan.
Thank you. I will be recusing from two items, both to do with the short-term rental. So an indirect pecuniary interest. Item 7A3, it's a portion of the consent agenda, and also 11B6.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? I'm not seeing any in the room or on screen, so we'll take that one and have it as the only one. By way of explanation, a couple of matters. Motions, the motions that you hear will have been pre-populated with random movers and seconders in order to expedite this meeting. And number two, for voting, members shall physically raise their hand until I, as the mayor, have confirmed the vote. If the vote is unclear, a verbal vote shall be recorded by the clerk, but in those circumstances, it is not considered a recorded vote. Okay, so I think that takes care of the introductory stuff. And I'm going to move on to consent agenda. Is that the first issue? Perfect. So we have three matters, I think, in front of us on the consent agenda. I have a resolution that I'm going to read, and then we can open up for any comment or feedback. It is moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved that the mayor and council adopt and enact the following minutes and recommendations contained in the April 16, 2025 consent agenda and direct staff to proceed with all necessary administrative action. Number one, March 12, 2025 General and Finance Committee minutes and action items 1 through 9. Number two, March 12, 2025 council minutes. And number three, March 13, 2025 Planning Committee minutes and action items 1 through 10. Anybody with comments or feedback on those minutes? I'm seeing none, then I will call the question. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Thanks. There we go. Okay, we're going to jump to what's next. We've got all of these, right? So we're on to 8A, which is the first item and only item that's currently under new business. And it relates to the strong mayor powers, of which we became aware literally 7 days ago today. I believe, Director Prosky, you're going to start. Who wants to make a start? Yeah, I think we're going to have a brief introduction. I will have a few comments of my own. Well, I'll wait till then. Thank you. Director Prosky.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. On April 9th, it was announced that the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing is proposing amendments to O Regulation 530/22 under the Municipal Act to expand the list of municipalities having strong mayor powers and duties to include certain single-tier and lower-tier municipalities with a council composition size of 6 members or more. The province opened up the commenting period on Wednesday of last week and they are closing that end of day today. So we had 1 week. At this time, staff are working with legal counsel and area municipalities to further understand the changes and effects to current municipal bylaws, policies, processes, and procedures. Should this come into effect as planned on May 1st, we are looking to provide further training and or information to staff and all of council, as well as we'll be reviewing current bylaws and policies for any required changes moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that. CAO Pink, did you want to speak or do you want to just be around for questions and feedback? Okay. All right. So I'm going to have a few comments of my own. And I don't really have anything prepared. I've got some stuff I want to talk about. I am going to remain in the chair because I'm not calling for a debate at this point in time. I'm simply trying to get some information out there. Happy to take questions and comments. If somebody feels the need to move this into something more, a debate of some sort, I will vacate the chair so that I can participate in the discussion, and I will ask Councillor Mazan to assume the chair as deputy mayor. But for now, let me tell you, first and foremost, it is frightfully early in this game for us to have a point of view or a perspective on this. Literally 7 days ago, without any prior notice on my behalf, I don't think anybody heard anything from anyone. This came in by way of email. Up until that point in time, I honestly hadn't even considered it within the realm of possibility. So maybe it's negligent on my part, but I had no idea what it meant when I got it. I mean, I had a vague notion of some of the stuff I read from other, from news from other jurisdictions, but literally hadn't looked at it with any kind of care because I didn't really think it would ever come to pass here. So I have some initial observations. I think Director Prosky said it really well. We have more questions at this point in time than we do answers. And there's a whole range of questions. The questions are everything from what are these powers? How, there's kind of a general description. Was it circulated? I think it was. The letter was circulated to all on council. You've had a chance to read it. So your interpretation and mine are probably similar. I have spent a lot of time behind the scenes trying to read through and parse and understand what this all means and how it would apply and to whom it would apply. And we are taking steps. The other 5 lower tier mayors are meeting Friday of next week, along with clerks and CAOs as well, with a lawyer, an expert in matters of municipal law, to help us understand what does this document actually mean for this organization, for each of us individually, and for the township and for its constituents. So until that happens, and until I get comfortable that I really understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to refrain from any kind of discussion, any kind of debate. Happy to discuss. I will tell you that we don't even know what we don't know at this point in time. There's just a lot of questions. And if you Google these special powers, you'll find that there's a lot of controversy in lots of other municipalities where, I'm assuming under the same circumstance, they kind of landed in everybody's lap and everybody's trying to figure out what to do with it and what it would mean. a couple of comments without, without the right to come back later and say I was wrong about the interpretation on this. My initial sense of this is that certain of the elements that are provided, veto power in the hands of the mayor, the ability or the right to propose and pass resolutions on a simple vote of 1/3 of council, and other matters, even down to how staff relations would be changed, are quite frankly run contrary to everything that I believe is the foundation of a good democracy. I have searched everywhere, and I don't want to over dramatize this, but the fact of the matter is I take the role of good governance extraordinarily seriously. It's why the three chairs work as hard as they do to get better with each meeting in terms of chairing and exercising whatever authority and power we have when we're chairing the meeting. The goal is to get really good at this. And underpinning all of that is the need for complete transparency, for a respect for basic, principles like majority rule, and full disclosure and open debate. And there are provisions in this authority that appear to me to run afoul of that, to run contradictory to that. And I have a very, very strong, I'm very, very challenged to get comfortable that that is an appropriate way for the township of Muskoka Lakes and for its council and its committees to operate. So I have to get better information than I have to change my mind, but my initial reaction is that there's a lot about this that is repugnant to the notion of a real democracy. Number two, the kind of introductory language and the language that's used to justify the creation of these powers and the handing these powers to certain individuals at each council, or the mayor on each council, is largely couched in the notion that we have to do something to build more homes. And I will never be convinced that our failure to appropriately and adequately house people in this province has anything to do with exercising real democracy and exercising democratic rights. We have real problems, and I hope everybody understands I'm as committed as I can be to helping to solve those problems. I spend an inordinate amount of time as chair of this of the district's housing task force, trying to be creative, trying to be innovative, trying to be aggressive with a team of people, both citizens and elected officials alike, to try to find a way to solve a huge and growing problem that we should be embarrassed by. But I've never once sat back in my chair and thought, if only we'd sacrifice democratic principles, we wouldn't have this problem. That's not why we're here, and it's not how we're going to get out of this mess. So I really have an obstacle that's rooted in that as well. The third thing is that I actually quite like what we're building here. I have a tremendous amount of respect for everybody on this council. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the commitment and for the hard effort and the hard work that we all put into coming together in spite of differences of opinion from time to time and maybe often. We come together and we rise above and we find a path forward that is fully transparent, that is purely democratic, that hopefully allows everybody to have equal opportunity for access and input into a process that's time tested and in my belief is true. So, and similarly, and I hope everybody knows this as well, I have a tremendous affection for the people, the staff members that work in this organization, throughout the organization. Closest contact, obviously, is with the directors of the departments, but I can tell you, I have never run into one that I thought to myself, I wouldn't hire that person. I've never run into one that I thought, I don't think they're doing their job. We all work hard, we all focus on the right things, and we all do the best that we can to make this a better place for our residents, both seasonal residents and year-round residents. I'm afraid that the exercise of these powers frankly, not even the exercise of these powers, but maybe even just the fact that they're there and they could be exercised could undermine that. I would not want to be necessarily in an organization that, working as staff in the organization, knowing full well that I can pour my heart and soul into a long, hard effort to build a report to explain a planning matter, knowing that somebody with absolutely no planning background, expertise, or experience can wave the magic wand and veto it. I don't think that's the right way for this organization to be governed. Similarly, I don't know how enthusiastic anybody on council or any of our committees would be to come in knowing full well that in spite of all of their efforts to do the right thing, there's an arbitrary opportunity for somebody to wave a wand and make it disappear. So part of my immediate reaction to this is I actually think on a net benefit test, I really struggle to see the benefit, but I don't have to try very hard to see a lot of potential problems that come with it. So 2, 3 things that I've given you are where I'm starting from in terms of understanding not just what are the powers and how are they to be exercised, but take it to the next step. What can we do about it? The powers that will be conferred May 1st. And by the way, the other reality is, as much as I trust council and certainly trust myself with these powers, they will survive any of us, and they will be here. And presumably when I'm a properly retired citizen of the township of Muskoka Lakes, I'm going to want to know that the work that's done in this chamber is going to be done in a pure and democratic way, because I have a lot of interests to make sure that it is done that way when I have no influence over it. So, but there's a lot of questions that hopefully we can be guided on. One of them is, what can we do about it? I have seen evidence, lots of evidence, where municipalities have said, don't want it. Thank you very much. Take it back. I've never seen anybody respond to that. I've never seen the next step where it's actually rescinded or repudiated or retracted. So maybe that's an option. I'll find out more in a week. Maybe that's something that this council needs to consider and debate when we know better what the opportunities or what the possibilities are. The second issue is, if that can't work, I'm assuming that we still are, that nothing makes sense between now and then. So the next time we talk about this, if I still operating under the same cloud, my question would be, if that doesn't work, what else can we consider? Can we delegate these authorities away? And I, as someone who has obviously spent some time in legal circles and has even a small understanding of constitutional law, one of the problems are these powers are conferred by a higher jurisdiction than the township. And I really don't think we have any legal authority or power to do anything about it internally, to neuter them or renege them. But that needs to be explained. I need to understand that better than I do right now. And hopefully with CAO and with Director Porosky, we can come away a little better informed as to what's been tried, what's within the realm of possible, and we can come back with some better next steps. I just don't know. I mean, it's possible that the power is granted and that the mayor makes a commitment that I'll never exercise it. Frankly, to the extent that I would ever have to exercise it, I'm going to tell you honestly, I would feel that I had failed as the head of council in terms of leading it through a full and proper, democratic process. That would be, I think, a failure of the mayor that would result in the step of having to override or rush on a resolution with less than 50% vote. I suppose it could just sort of sit here and hang on the shelf, whatever it is, and not be exercised, but that doesn't take away, frankly, I think that the threat, we're talking about this in floods, in this summer or this spring, so far, knock on wood, assuming nothing bad happens in the next couple of weeks, the threat of the flood is almost as crippling as the flooding itself. That's probably a stupid thing to say, but the fact of the matter is the threat of this being exercised can be as damaging to this organization, I think, as actually exercising it right or wrong. So I think we need to find that out. I think we need to come back with better, certainly more questions and some answers than I have at this point in time. I still frankly don't understand the full scope of the powers. I don't understand. There are kind of language that suggests it can only be exercised to the extent that it's in connection with something that's on the provincial priority list. And I did find last night a copy of the provincial priorities. There, you could drive a truck through them. You know, breathing is one. That's not, that's a joke, sorry. But there are things there, and I think the discretion to determine whether the power is to be used or not is with the mayor, and not able to be challenged by anybody, certainly around this table, who have municipal authority. So I think that's something else that I need to better understand than I do right now. Good news is I'm coming to an end here shortly, I hope. The worst thing that can happen is being played out in the courts, and it's being played out in a horrible skew of council meetings, particularly in fairly close municipality of Aurelia, where they've been literally, there's been some really, I shouldn't have an opinion on this. There's been some really challenging behaviors taking advantage of this power, this authority, which shows me that in the wrong hands, it can be as destructive, way more destructive than it can be helpful. It's resulted in special council meetings. It's been, with splits between different parts of the council. For the last 2 weeks, that council has not focused on, I shouldn't say this, I don't believe that council is focused on recovering from an ice storm, on building an economic development policy, on housing the residents. They've been focused on fighting with each other over the exercise of these powers. And again, I think there's an extraordinary potential harm that comes with these powers that, as I understand it today, we need to avoid in every way we can possibly avoid them. So that's really, I mean, I think I've run out of gas. I have nothing left to say. If I had more power, I would come up with something. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know what else to say. I unfortunately don't have answers, and I don't like not having answers. And I don't even have anything I can make up and pretend to know. We're going to learn more. We're going to come back with better information. And hopefully at some point then we can have, whatever kind of discussion or debate needs to follow. Happy to, as I said, I'm happy to listen and take comments. David, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that. Come on, jump in, man. Councillor Zavich, you had your hand up.
Thank you, through you. So, and thanks for, all of the education that you brought us up to speed with. I guess my one question would be, which I didn't see referred to anywhere here, is the whole District of Muskoka mothership thing. It doesn't talk here about the interplay when you're a regional government piece. So we're one of 6. Does the district have any sort of a special vibe in here that they can, and again, you're meeting with them all next week.
No.
To represent that, are we safe harmless from up there being told to do some things? Because we don't act in isolation.
No, and that's a really good question, because most of the issues that we need to deal with to promote residential development are district matters. It's expansion of services. It's those kinds of things. By my understanding, as we sit here, 6 mayors of the 6 of us on district council were granted these special powers, but the district itself has no such powers. And I don't believe that the powers that were conferred on, or that will be, it's not until May 1st that these are effective, but that the powers that are to be conferred at the lower tier level carry any weight at all when we cross over to Bracebridge and go to a council meeting there. It's a great question. It's on the list. Don't know the answer. Councillor McIntyre.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you saying all of this, because your reaction was exactly the same as my reaction as I'm reading through this. Every sentence or every paragraph I'm reading, I'm seeing red flags everywhere, and it really concerns me for the sake of our township and for the sake of our council and all the rest of this stuff. So go get them.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments, questions? See, nobody, Councillor Edwards.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think there should be the powers. If you, as you said, Aurelia, Caledon, if you look at the job postings for Caledon, the mayor's going wild down there. And that, and this is it. Not only that, all you have to do is look at somebody with power south of the border that thinks we're a one-man show. And that you get the wrong person in, and it's terrible. And I think we should be maybe sending a resolution at some point in to say that we don't want them. I think the district should send one in. I think you should ask the other mayors, all 6 of you, reject it and say, sorry, we don't want it. It's not a democratic process. Thank you.
I have not spoken with any of the other mayors on this subject, but some of them have actually been picked up in the press, and their views are available if you want to see 2 or 3 of them. So next week, I think, will be the first, well, we have council meeting next week. It'll be the first time we're all together in one room. It'll be an interesting dialogue, I'm sure. Councillor Mazan.
Thank you, and through you. Just on that note, for the remaining 9 of us on council, what is the best or most appropriate way for us to continue to not only be informed, but to perhaps have voice in this discussion?
Initial thought, the best voice is through council, is with some sort of resolution or something. But I just think it's premature because I don't frankly even know what we'd be asking for at this point.
So
In terms of staying informed, there's no real public forum for this. Yeah, I was going to say that, Director Prost.
help.
Help me out.
Thank you. I will add a point of clarification for the thousands of people who are watching right now. We're hearing a lot about a resolution. Absolutely, council could pass a resolution. It's something we may want to work on crafting. I don't know that there's a huge rush. I did say today was the end of the commenting period, but we did receive 1 week for that commenting period, and they've already said it's coming into force May 1st. So I think we've got some time, but I just want to make sure that it's clear for the public that should council choose to pass a resolution, the resolution would essentially say to the province, we don't want this, from what I'm hearing on the table, we don't want this, and we're asking you to reconsider either us being on the list or just the legislation in general. There is, again, I'm in the same boat, still learning and trying to digest all the information, but from my understanding and from speaking to many other municipalities, this council has no ability to say no to it. So this is something that has been imposed on this township. So I just want to make sure members of the public are clear on that it's not something that the council can sit here and say, okay, we're going to accept it or not. It's being imposed. So I just thought that was important for the public to hear. The point on more information and being engaged, I'm happy to share as much information as I can as it comes in to me. Like I said, the first step is to kind of meet with the mayors and CAOs and clerks, and then from there we'll look to do some training sessions with council here. So I will be looking to schedule additional training for council on this matter, but it's still very new. We're still trying to figure out all the information and who best to bring in for that, but it will be coming as soon as possible.
Thank you. I think I saw Councillor Edwards first, and then Councillor upstairs. Well, Councillor Kent will come to you right after Councillor Edwards.
Okay, thank you. So this comes in effect May the 1st.
It does.
So could we send a resolution, ask them to hold off on that? That you know, the public and everybody should know rather than speeding it through.
Yeah,
I think if we had 90 days.
I suppose we could. I don't have an answer because I don't know whether that would be effective or not until we figure out what's been done, what's been tried, but
Doesn't hurt to send something in and ask.
that's a good question. Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. This may be an ignorant question, but can you just tell me, or maybe you could find out, who originated this And what problem are they trying to solve? Where did this come from? Was this an Ontario government thing? Is this a federal government thing? Anyway, I couldn't tell from the letter, and I don't know the background because I'm not involved enough.
Sorry, if we could just have one conversation. Please, thank you very much. You know what? It is a provincial government thing, and if I could find the letter, the actual legislation itself is like Strong Mayors Act to build more houses or something like that, if I'm not. And it's from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, who's charged with the responsibility for housing. So it would appear to be framed as necessary in order to build the, and I don't want to be getting it wrong, 1.5 million is the committed number of houses. Yeah, it fell under the Build Homes Faster legislation, which has a strong commitment to build a huge number of homes, vast number of homes between now and 2031. I think it's 31.
So just one follow-up, I guess then wouldn't the extension of that be, well, if that's what the problem is, they're trying to make sure gets tackled properly. If they're going to provide or require strong mayor powers, why doesn't it be exclusive to content related to building homes?
And that's one of the questions we have to find out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else with a question or a comment? No? All right. Well, thank you for that. Good stuff. We'll move on. Next item. Thank you. Where's my agenda? Where am I? I'm lost. Okay. Okay, we have some reports from the senior management team, RFPs and tenders. I believe 10A is the first one, a supply and deliver tandem axle truck. Mr. Sopko.
Afternoon. So the first report for you today is for the award of a tender for 2 tandem axle plow trucks. The purchase can be made within the approved budget. On the topic of tariffs, the dealer has provided price protection on the chassis, but is unsure of the impacts of tariffs upon the snowplow equipment. Notwithstanding that, you'll see this is a general theme through these reports with the vehicles. Staff will make sure that as part of the award of the contract, that will have provisions that the township does have the right to cancel the purchase if the amended price is not, if we're not in agreement with it. So with that, I'll be available for any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Sopko? No. I'm going to read a resolution then. Thank you, sir. Moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved. No. Be it resolved that council award contract T-2025-22 to Curry Truck Center Bracebridge for the bid price of $753,340 plus HST, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any questions or comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Sopko, you have one more? Okay, one. He's here. I'm sorry? No, but I mean, one more. Okay. Carry on.
So the next report for you is for the award of a 3/4 ton pickup truck. Again, it can be made within the approved budget. The recommendation is to the low bid. Again, with tariffs, we're not totally sure of impacts, but we'll make sure that we have appropriate provisions within the purchase. With that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Anyone with questions? Seeing none, I'll read a resolution. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that council award contract T-2025-23 to Cavalcade Ford Ltd for the bid price of $65,985 plus HST, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any comment? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Sopko again.
Next report is for the award of a contract for a compact pickup truck for the Building Services Department. The purchase can be made within the approved budget. And again, the same comments on the tariffs. We will work through that as we award the tender. And
Thank
with
you
that,
for the-
feel free for any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Any questions, Councillor Bosenworth?
Question through you to Mr. Sopko. Do we have any brand efficiencies about having all the same brand or make or model of equipment? I mean, there are Fords and GMs and GMCs. Do we care from a financial
Go
point
ahead,
of view?
Mr. Sopko.
Through you I would say for the light duty stuff, there is some efficiency, but not as much. You can interchange tires, filters, things like that. For our larger trucks, there certainly is an efficiency because the components actually are of much greater value. But in regards to this purchase, I think having, whether we have a Chevy or a Ford, a lot of it is service where the components are really, it's parts that are readily available. So it's not as much of a concern with our larger equipment.
So would you include, what about the Tandem?
Yeah, so through you, the tandems, there is definitely an efficiency in terms of having consistent brands throughout. I would note in the award of the tandems this year, they're for Western Star trucks. The majority of our vehicles that we've awarded the last, I'd say 5-6 years, or all of them have been Western Star trucks. So we are moving in that direction.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all for questions. And I've got a resolution to read, moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved, the council award contract T-2025-29 to Crevette Chevrolet Buick Cadillac and GMC Truck Ltd. for the bid price of $47,100, taxes excluded, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with the purchase. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Sopko, you want to talk to us about the next one?
Next one is for the award of supply and deliver granular material on Bear Cave Road. The recommendation is to the lowest compliant bidder, and the project will be within the approved budget. With that, available for any questions.
Any questions on the granular material? No? I'll read a resolution moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved, the council award contract T-2025-26 to Wayne Hall Construction, Inc. for the bid price of $82,687.50 plus HST. And that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with the contract. Any comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Next one, I think, is slurry seal, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, dust is pressing. I am.
So yeah, committee reports, apologies. So the next report for you is for the award of a dust suppressant supply and place contract. The recommendation is to award the lowest bidder. I have noted in the report that the purchase is slightly above the approved budget, but staff will it's within the authority staff have to reallocate within the budget, and we'll work to reduce expenses in other areas if possible to make up for the overage. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? I'll read a resolution moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved, the council award contract T-2025-27 to Miller Paving Ltd. for the bid price of $126,960 plus HST. And that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any comments? I'll call it. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. The next one is the slurry seal, and it's actually the emulsified slurry seal. Type 2, well, yeah. Mr.
So,
Sopko.
This report is for to authorize participation in a joint tender through the district. As last year, it's using a 2003 contract that had provisions for using pricing based on a CPI increase. And all the roads came in within the approved budget. And that's, I'll indulge for any questions you may have on the award.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, moved by Councillor Bosenworth, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that council authorize the township's participation in the district contract for the supply and application of emulsified asphalt slurry seal, type 2, in the amount of $258,216.55, taxes excluded. And that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with participation in the contract. Any comment? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. All right, sir, next one is culvert replacement.
Yep, so the next report for you is for the to award the tender for Dark Bay Road culvert replacement, as well as discussion on contract administration inspection, just extending the design contract for this work. The recommendation is to award to the lowest bidder for this job, and the recommendation is also to extend the design assignment as it provides efficiencies to the process, having the same engineering consultant overseeing the work when it's happening as well. That's done the design. There were the budget. The project did come in over budget from what was expected. There was a design change that was, I think, largely attributable to the increase of what we saw. And essentially with this one, staff will work within the delegated authority they have to reallocate budget within the capital budget. And we'll report back if there's any changes on that regard. And we're confident that the shortfall can be funded within the available budget that we have within the capital budget in general. With that, available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Councillor Zavitz.
Thank you, and through you to Tim. So knowing this place well, the culvert is a method of construction. Clearly, it's deficient. Obviously, it's been considered that a bridge wouldn't be less expensive, or because it's a culvert into a swampy water area that has, I think, 2 cottages, 2 residences inside, and that's it. And it's essentially a wetland. Is this the least expensive bridge we can build to cross over that water that is in Lake Muskoka?
Yes. So through you, in answer to the question, I would say that this is this would be the most cost effective. The proposed solution isn't using deep foundations or anything like that. It's basically like for like using an elliptical corrugated steel plate, multi-plate culvert, has a design life of 100 years. So we're getting a good value in terms of that regards. We did have to retain some freeboard for passage, because even though it is, the area that service is passed, it is part of the lake and it has to be navigable. So we've kept that same clearance in regard as well.
Thank you for that. Other questions? Seeing none, I have a resolution I'll read. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that council award contract T-2025-30 to Weir Gradall Limited for the contract price of $602,153.87 plus HST. And that the existing design contract with Greer Galloway Consulting Engineers be extended to provide contract administration and construction inspection services at the estimated price of $21,250 plus HST. And that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, you're here talking about a chipper, canoe chipper.
You
read it quickly.
So this report before you, it's obviously a very topical item given the events of the last few weeks. So for this procurement, just to help in light of that, to speed up the procurement process, staff have utilized the approach of using the Canoe Procurement Group of Canada. It's a group buying solution that we've secured pricing through a contract that's already been put out through the agency. And so the recommendation is to get approval to approve the purchase in accordance with the procurement bylaw. Due to value, we do need approval from council to still proceed with the purchase. And the plan will be to have this new chipper in service ASAP to help with resources out in the roads, getting stuff cleaned up. We'll keep the old chipper in service, keep it going until we get cleanup done, and then dispose of it via the public auction site. Noting that we are a little bit above our approved budget for this one, but it's within the delegated authority to reallocate funds. And looking at our capital budget, we're not concerned about being able to cover the overage with savings from other areas. With that, I'm available for any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions? I see none. Moved by Councillor Zabitz, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved that council approves the purchase of a new chipper from Vermeer Canada Inc. in accordance with Canoe Procurement Group Contract 031721-VRM for the purchase price of $140,072.79 plus HST. And that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Okay, Tandem Engineering, sir. That's you too? Yeah.
Okay, so the last report that I have for you today is providing some information on the failure of a large diameter structural culvert system on Gross Road, as well as a request for council to authorize staff to begin design work for this project. So just as some background, on April 3rd, staff responded to a report of a large sinkhole on Gross Road over top of the culvert system. It was noted that there'd been a structural failure of one of the pipes. The road was closed immediately, and it's due to condition, the road's going to have to remain closed indefinitely until we have a repair in place. There is a detour in place for residents, so that was an option in this case. Due to the size and the span of these culverts, these are actually considered a structure or a bridge, and they have to be designed in accordance with the Canadian Bridge Design Code. So that's why we've already engaged the services of an engineering consultant to help prepare some preliminary information for council today. But we do need your approval to actually make the next step and sign on the dotted line with them in terms of entering into the proposal for the design of the work. There will be definitely more information to come on this. In the report, you'll note there's some ballpark estimates and some ideas of what we're thinking at this point. The solutions may be, but more to come on that in the future for sure. So with that, I'll open it to any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Councillor Mazan.
Thank you, and through you. Just given the timing of this failure and looking at the cost to be expected, it seems, well, it is high. I note the last comment, a funding request for the work will be included in a future report. So just trying to understand, are there other ways to get funding to support this repair, or is this going to be fully within our wheelhouse?
Not go.
For you, I think it's a question to be answered another day. I expect when we come back with better estimates on or better idea, this is what we're proposing, this is the estimate to do the work. At that time, we will have to discuss our budget, because the option is either pull it from reserves or to defer other projects. So that would be something that have to be discussed at a future meeting.
Thank you. And just, if I could have just a quick
Sure.
supplemental,
Sure.
I think when I was bringing up the timing of the event, it seemed to me that there was plans for this particular culvert, but I think this is right in the midst of the actual ice storm. So I have no idea if this was a damage. It doesn't need to be responded to today necessarily, but is this a damage that could be considered as part of that storm? I'll just leave it at that, the comment.
Thank you. Anyone else with quasi questions? Oh, Councillor Kent.
I was just given, I didn't know where Gross Road was. I now looked. And is this road a critical, it looks like it's a crossover that goes from Aspiden Road to, I guess, Highway 3 or whatever that's called over there. Is it used as a crossover from the one road to the other? Is this like affecting a massive neighborhood? Or is it just causing people to have to go around on the slightly slower road? Because it's funny, it's a small little stretch of road in there.
Mr. Sopko.
Send through you. So it is noted in the report that the detour in place, it is relatively short detour. Not and in that area, there's not a huge amount of properties. That said, I think when it's crossroad is a paved road that provides access to a paved road. Right now we have traffic diverting onto a gravel road, and we are experiencing right now some feedback on that the gravel road isn't holding up to the increased traffic properly. Something else that's important as we discuss this down the road is that when you look at the road network in that area, it doesn't appear to be a critical road in that way, but it is often used as a detour route where Aspen Road will be closed due to flooding. There's a low-lying area, and in between Gross Road and Heckler Road often gets closed. It has a lot of truck traffic and things like that, and it often gets routed down temporarily via the township road. So that is a consideration in terms of how we approach this problem as well.
Would you ever consider paving the gravel road as compared to repairing this particular diversion? Just a random idea.
Through you, it's something we could look at. I think that it would certainly solve the problem or the comment I've made about the detour of people having to drive on gravel roads right now. It doesn't solve the problem of this being used as a detour route quite frequently. Like I can think of quite a few examples of that when it has had to be used.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? I will read a resolution. Thank you. Oh, Councillor Edwards.
I see on your solutions there, 3 options. Is this something like the Fish Hatchery Road when the single lane bridge was taken out of there and changed? Which option would that be here?
So through you, that'd be option 1. It's sort of those are corrugated steel pipes that have a trench coat.
They're coating, okay.
Yeah, have a coating on it.
They had a 70-year guarantee?
Yeah, those are often 75 to 100 year with the
Thank you
coating
very
on
much.
them. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No, I'll read a resolution then. I haven't read this, right? Moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that, is it Tatham or Tatum?
Tatham.
Tatham Engineering Ltd. be awarded a sole source contract for the provision of geotechnical and design work for the replacement of the Gross Road culvert replacement in the amount of $76,000 with funds to be drawn from the roads reserve, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute all necessary documents to carry out the work. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sopko, for your input on that. And I see we have Mr. Colucci approaching to, I guess, stand in for the absent Mr. Moore. Is that correct?
Yes, the vacationing Mr. Moore.
Don't use the word.
So the report before you is to award the building condition assessments to EGIS. We did receive 12 bids on this project, and all the bids were scored technically by staff. And the highest scoring bid was from EGIS. So staff are recommending to award that. The bid amount is below the budget. And just noting that, there is a surplus budget. So if during the building condition assessments, there are some other structural items that have to be looked at, we would have some extra budget to do that.
Thank you for that. Anyone with questions for Mr. Colucci, Director Colucci? Nope, seeing none, I'll read a resolution. Moved by Councillor Burry. Seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved, the council award contract RFP-2025-09 to Aegis for the bid price of $44,200 HST excluded, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with the proposal. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. All right, next up is Chief Morrell.
Through you to council. Before you is a report that recommends the signing of an agreement for the Cleveland's House Marina. In past, we have not had an agreement for this marina. We have paid the fee for the mooring of the vessel, and there was not an agreement in place under the previous marina owner. This year, there is a new owner, and this agreement is for 1 year. And all the details are contained in the report. I now stand for questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Bosenworth.
Just confirmation that the price is nil. Did I read that?
Correct.
Thank you.
Through you. Correct.
Any other questions? I will read a resolution. Moved by Councillor Bosenworth, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that the agreement between the Cleveland's House Marina as attached to report number ES-2025-006 for the purpose of mooring a township fireboat be approved, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with the agreement. Any comments? All in favor? Oh, sorry.
I'm wondering if we could send a thank you to the owner. We used to have to pay to do this, and the owner of the property is waiving that. And the owner doesn't have to do that. It's a terrific location, as I know the fire chief will tell us, which is why he's put it there. I don't think it takes very much for us to say thank you.
Okay, that's great. We'll take that and we'll deal with it separately. We'll figure out how to get that done. I don't think it's that hard. Okay, and I've read the resolution. Any other comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Morrell. Okay, moving on to some bylaws, zoning bylaws first. And Emily is up with 439592, is that right?
That's right.
You're on, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Kelly, and good afternoon, members of council. As council may recall, concurrent consent applications B2323ML, B010225ML, and zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 3124 in the name of 439592 Ontario Inc. was last heard by Planning Committee on March 13th, 2025. Where Planning Committee recommended that the applications be approved, subject to the recommended conditions of consent, and revisions to the bylaw to require on-land buildings and structures to be set back 49.2 feet from the identified intermittent water course, and to require a dwelling and sleeping cabin to be set back 98.4 feet from Ricketts Lake. Staff recommend today that a minor amendment be approved to add a Schedule 3 to Bylaw 2025-038, which indicates the location and extent of the identified intermittent watercourse and the required setback from this feature being 49.2 feet. The addition of this schedule is simply to implement the revision that was approved by Planning Committee last month. I have no further comments, but I'm happy to assist council with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. Anyone have questions, comments? No? Then I'm going to read the resolutions, there are three. If this goes according to plan, we'll work through three. First up, moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-038 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, bracket 439592 Ontario Inc., roll number 4-7-050-01, be read a first and second time. Any questions? I'll call it. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Next one is moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zabitz. Be it resolved, the Township Council amend bylaw 2025-038, bracket 439592 Ontario Inc., roll number 4-7-050-01, and this amendment is minor in nature and does not require further public circulation and is hereby approved prior to third reading. The amendment shall consist of bullet, adding Schedule 3 to bylaw 2025-038, which indicates the location and extent of the identified intermittent watercourse and the required setback from this feature being 49.2 feet. Any questions? All in favor? Carries. Thank you. Next one, last one. Moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-038 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, bracket 439592 Ontario Inc., roll number 4-7-050-01, be read a third time and finally passed. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. Are you speaking next, Emma? Welcome back. This is bylaw 2025-039.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly, and good afternoon, members of council. As council may recall, zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA-4624 in the name of Whatmore was heard by Planning Committee on March 13th, 2025, where Planning Committee recommended approval of staff's recommendation to deny exemptions A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I to redefine the straight line projection of the westerly side lot line to permit the development of an over-length one-story boathouse and attached over with dock with reduced side yard setbacks and to permit reduced exterior side yard setbacks and reduced setbacks from an unopened road allowance. Planning Committee recommended approval of exemption J to deem the subject property a building lot. Planning staff therefore recommended that first, second, and third reading of the bylaw be given today. Staff have no further comments, but are happy to assist council with any questions.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have questions? I don't see any, but thank you very much. I'll read a resolution. There are two of them. First one is moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-039 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, bracket Whatmore, roll number 2-11-054, be ready first and second time. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That carried. Thank you very much. Next up is moved by Councillor here, Councillor McIntyre. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. I think that worked well. Mazan. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-039 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, Whatmore, roll number 2-11-054, be read a third time and finally passed. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Are you coming back up again? Thank you very much. You're on.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. As council may recall, zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 4124 in the name of Muskoka Lakes Golf and Country Club GP Inc. was heard by Planning Committee on March 13th, 2025. Planning Committee recommended that the application be approved subject to the recommended revisions to the bylaw. The bylaw before council today reflects these revisions. Staff also recommend that an amendment be passed today, which consists of the following. adding reference to sections 9.2.1 and 9.2.4 of the township's zoning bylaw to section 1, subsection 3 of bylaw 2025-040. Staff have no further comments, but are happy to assist council with any questions.
Councillor Kent, I bet you have something you want to say.
Recuse
You're on
myself
mute.
from this one. I forgot to recuse myself from this one. I will not be voting.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Nope, I don't see any. I'll read it. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-040 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, Muskoka Lakes Golf and Country Club GP Inc., roll number 5-4-082, be read a first and second time. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Oh, that carries with one recusal. And to close this one off, we have a motion made by Councillor Zabit, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-040 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, Muskoka Lakes Golf and Country Club GP Inc., roll number 5-4-082, be read a third time and finally passed. Any comments, questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Again, one recused on that. All right, next up we have Caitlin, Ms. Walker, right? You're on. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly, and good afternoon, Council. As Council may recall, zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 55/24 in the name of Sargent was heard by Planning Committee on March 13th of 2025. In March, committee recommended approval of the application subject to the following revisions: to only permit the uses outlined in the staff report, to limit the maximum daily sanitary sewage flow to 3,300 liters per day, to permit only 2 additional accessory dwelling units and deem the resultant building the only form of multiple dwelling permitted on the property, to place a hold provision on the northern portion of the subject property, to limit lot coverage to 47,500 square feet. Committee also requested that staff consider an increase to the interior side yard setback from the southerly lot line. Staff has considered this and proposed a 30-foot setback in the bylaw in front of you today. The bylaw before council today reflects all the revisions I've listed above, and I have no other comments, but I'm happy to assist with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions or comment? Councillor Edwards.
They're all well fence, and that requested there.
So staff will, sorry, through you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Staff will deal with the fence through the site plan agreement process that'll take
Thank
place
you.
after this.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? None. I will read the resolution moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-041 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, Sargent, roll number 9-9-011, be read a first and second time. Any questions? I'll call it. All in favor? Did you have a question? Thank you for that. That carried. Thank you. Next up, moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-041 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, Sargent, roll number 9-9-011, be read a third time and finally passed. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. So we have no one presenting on this next one. I will read it. Resolution moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-042 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, McGregor, roll number 8-18-033, be read a first and second time. Anybody with a question? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Next one, moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-042 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14, McGregor, roll number 8-18-033, be read a third time and finally passed. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. All right. Everybody good? Thank you very much for your help. Anybody need a break? We're going to be taking one before closed. I tell you right now, but we're going to carry on. All right, carry on. Okay, next up is bylaw 2025-036. I don't know what's happening with this one, to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer. This is no explanation, just read it. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-36, being a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer and a property standards officer for the corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Same sort of drill on this one. Stay in line here, make sure I don't get ahead of myself. Moved by Councillor Zabit, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-037, being a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer and a property standards officer for the corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Next up, no report. Okay, I'll read a resolution moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Bosamworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-051, being a bylaw for the purpose to appoint a deputy fire chief for the corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any questions? Just one? Okay, that's good. Any other questions? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Does that carry? Thank you. All righty. Next up, moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Bosamworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-050, being a bylaw for the purpose to appoint a bylaw enforcement officer for the corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Next up, moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Yes. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-008, being a bylaw to provide authority to impose user fees for the Township of Muskoka Lakes Fire Protection Services, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay, I understand what's going on there. Moved by Council. Oh, sorry, we have a presentation on this one, do we?
No, too.
What's going on? What's behind you doing? Getting a little jumpy after what I said. Welcome to the podium, Director Huff.
Thank you, Council. So I am just following up on some previous conversations that we've had about amending the short-term rental accommodation bylaw. You'll recall that we did present a report to Planning Committee on March 13th that proposed a number of amendments, largely reflecting the fact that we're delayed in creating the application portal and getting it up online. At that meeting, committee provided guidance for us to go forward with those amendments, but also to get a legal review on the amendments. So that legal review has now been completed. It didn't result in any, I would say, significant changes or changes to the materiality of the bylaw itself. There is no introduction of new application requirements, et cetera, et cetera. Many of the changes were largely housekeeping and administrative in nature, beyond those that were already discussed in March. So, and I will also note that we did receive one public comment today that has been circulated to council on the bylaw. And with that, I will leave it for council and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And Councillor Zabitz.
Thank you. And through you, I guess the $100 question is, so where are we?
Director Huff.
Thank you, through you, your worship. So we are very close. So we are working on the release of an application portal in the next few months, like in the summertime. So I'm not able to provide details right now, but we're confident that we're going in the right direction.
Thank you. Councilor Zabit, sure.
Thank you. And through you, will we be publishing a formal sort of status update at some point in time to indicate that? Because there's a lot of people wondering.
Director Huff.
Through you, your worship, yes, we will. Hopefully next meeting, but I don't want to guarantee that. Could be June as well.
Very much. Anyone else with comments, questions? Councilor Edwards.
Had a question through the mayor. Had a question from somebody. Your calendar there, they can pick the week that it's not being used?
Through you, your worship, yes, you can.
Okay, so they could have family in, say, for the last week of July, first week of August, it wouldn't be a problem? It's not.
Director
rented,
Huff,
it's
is
family.
that a problem?
I don't think so.
Sorry?
No, I mean, if they have specific questions, they can certainly call our office and we can talk. It sounds like it's a fine scenario. Any week can be chosen as the week off within June, July, or August. It's up to the operator to decide which week to take off.
But what I'm asking is, can family use it those?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else with a question? I don't see any, so I'm going to read the resolution. Moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-049, being a bylaw to license, regulate, and govern short-term rental accommodations in the township of Muskoka Lakes, be given 3 readings and finally passed. Any more comments or questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, here we go. Now, no more presentations. I think we're just going to move forward with this. Yeah. Okay, these are planning matters. So moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-043, being a bylaw to deem lot 14 on plan M-29 in the former township of Wood, now in the township of Muskoka Lakes, district municipality of Muskoka, being a lot on a plan of subdivision, is hereby deemed not to be a lot on a plan of subdivision for the purposes of section 50 sub 3 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended. Bracket Gabrielle, roll number 6-19-103, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. We got all that? Ready to, any questions? All in favor? That carries, thank you. Okay. Next one up is moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zabitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-044 to designate site plan control part of lot 23, concession 13, more particularly described as part 1, plan 35R-26320, bracket Watt, excuse me, Watt, Lamb, roll number 2-26-085-04, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Any questions? All in favor? What did I do wrong?
It's not you.
Okay. I'll have to figure out later on what happened there. All right. That was, don't make me shy. Please. Don't start now. All right, next one up, moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Zabitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-045 to designate site plan control, part of lots 26 to 28, concession 6 and part of lot 26, concession 5, more particularly described as parts 2 and 5, plan 35R-2448, part 1, plan 35R-16178, part 2, and part of part 1 on plan 35R-21621, Medora, Muskoka Lakes Golf and Country Club, roll number 5-4-082. Be ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Any comments, questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. I'm gonna have a drink of water. I'm getting the squeaks. All right, here we go. We're back. Next one is moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-046 to designate site plan control, part of lots 25 and 26, concession 9, more particularly described as Part 5, Plan 35R-16337, bracket Monk, Sergeant, roll number 9-9-011 and 9-9-011-02, be ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Any comments, questions? Then all in favor? Then that carries. Make sure I get the right one in front of me. Okay, moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be as it resolved that original shore road allowance on Lake Muskoka lying in front of concession 6, part lot 21, Monk, designated as Part 1 on Plan 35R-27716 Seston, roll 9-4-022 be declared as surplus land. And that the clerk is hereby instructed to dispose of the said property pursuant to sections 8, 9, and 11 of the Municipal Act 2001, and that bylaw 2025-047 to stop up, close, and convey that portion of original shore road allowance designated as Part 1 on 35R-27716 be given 3 readings and finally passed. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Passed, carried, thank you. On now. I'll just keep going until you stop. All right, moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor, no, not by Councillor Roberts, Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-048, being a bylaw to dedicate parts 2, 3, and 4 on Plan 35R-27757 as a public highway and to transfer ownership to the township be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Questions? All in favor? Carries. Thank you very much. Oh, we're on to this? All right. And sorry, one moment. Take the break.
Technically, actually, let's read that first so they can go into.
Okay. We are going to go into closed session with this resolution, assuming we all vote for it. And then I need to, well, keep an open mind. I need to, Cheryl's in the room, but I need to, I find these closed sessions kill me. I got to have a little something refresher, stand up and get some fresh air. It's all this reading. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved that council in closed session convene at 3:12 p.m. for an exemption being litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Section 239 sub 2 sub E of the Municipal Act 2001. And exemption, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Section 239 sub 2 sub F of the Municipal Act 2001. And there are two underneath this: confidential report CCS-2025-07 and confidential report CCS-2025-09. And the next exemption is personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, section 239 sub 2 sub B of the Municipal Act 2001. And that is on confidential report CCS-2025-08. Anybody have any questions or comments? All in favor? That carries. We will go into closed and we can resume as soon as we get